Why do people camp outside stores for a phone? Why does a tech company have more devoted fans than most religions? Why is Apple worth more than an entire country's GDP? Apple isn't just successful, they're iconic. But iconic isn't about sales numbers or market cap. It's about cultural impact, emotional connection, and changing human behavior. Today, we're dissecting exactly what makes Apple iconic, and the answers might surprise you. Let's start with the most important factor. Apple doesn't sell technology, they sell identity. Look at the Think Different campaign. They didn't list specs or features. Instead, they showed Einstein, Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr. the message. Use Apple products, be like these world changers. This is psychological genius. When you buy an iPhone, you're not just buying a phone, you're buying membership to an exclusive club. You're saying I'm creative, I'm innovative, I think different. Microsoft sold computers to people who needed computers. Apple sold dreams to people who wanted to see themselves as special. Watch any Apple ad, they rarely show the product working. They show people living better lives because of the product. This isn't marketing, it's identity engineering. No CEO in history has been more synonymous with their company than Steve Jobs with Apple. Jobs didn't just run Apple, he was Apple. Look at his presentation style. Black turtleneck, jeans, New Balance sneakers. Simple, minimalist, approachable. Just like Apple products, he dressed like his brand. But here's what made him iconic. He presented products like they were life-changing miracles. Revolutionary, magical, incredible, these weren't just adjectives, they were prophecies. When Jobs said one more thing, the entire tech world held its breath. No other CEO commanded that attention. He turned product launches into cultural events. Even his personal story became Apple's story. The garage startup, getting fired from his own company, the comeback. Jobs proved that failure could be part of a great story, not the end of it. When he died in 2011, people left flowers at Apple stores worldwide. Think about that, mourning a CEO like a family member. That's not just success, that's iconic. Apple didn't just make products, they made design statements. Every curve, every material choice, every color was intentional. Look at the original iMac G3. In 1998, computers were beige boxes. Apple made theirs translucent, colorful, friendly. It looked like candy, not machinery. This wasn't just different, it was revolutionary. This is what Jony Ive called design thinking. Remove everything unnecessary until only the essential remains. No visible screws, no extra buttons, no complicated features. But here's the genius. By making their products beautiful, Apple made them status symbols. Carrying a MacBook became like carrying a designer bag. Using an iPhone became a fashion statement. They understood that humans don't just want functional objects. We want objects that reflect our taste, our values, our aspirations. Apple made technology emotionally resonant. Here's where Apple became truly unstoppable. They didn't just make products, they made ecosystems. Buy an iPhone, you'll want AirPods for wireless audio. Get AirPods, you might want an Apple Watch for fitness. Own an Apple Watch, maybe an iPad for larger screen. Use an iPad, perhaps a MacBook for real work. Each product makes the others more valuable. This isn't just smart business, it's addiction by design. But the real genius is seamlessness. Your photos automatically sync between devices. Your messages appear on all screens. Start typing on your iPhone, finish on your Mac. Competitors make better individual products. Samsung phones have better cameras, Windows laptops are cheaper, Spotify has more music. But nobody matches Apple's ecosystem integration. Once you're in the Apple ecosystem, leaving feels like losing half your digital life. That's not just customer loyalty, that's customer captivity. Apple's genius wasn't just what they made, it was when they made it. The iPod launched in 2001, right when Napster was destroying the music industry. Apple offered a legal alternative that was actually better than piracy. The iPhone launched in 2007, when smartphones existed but sucked. BlackBerry was for business, others were clunky. Apple made smartphones sexy. The iPad launched in 2010, when people wanted something between phones and laptops. Netbooks were cheap but terrible. Apple created a new category. But here's what's really impressive. Apple didn't just respond to market needs, they anticipated them. They saw problems before customers even realized they had them. Steve Jobs famously said, "People don't know what they want until you show it to them." Apple became iconic by solving problems we didn't know we had. Finally, Apple stores. Most tech companies sold through retailers. Apple created retail experiences. Walk into an Apple store. Everything is touchable, playable, approachable. No intimidating salespeople, just specialists who help you discover. The Genius Bar made technical support feel premium, not frustrating. Today at Apple Sessions turned stores into community centers, but the real innovation, making shopping feel like visiting a museum. Apple stores have better architecture than most buildings. They're designed to inspire, not just sell. This retail strategy did something incredible. It made Apple feel accessible while remaining premium. You could experience Apple products without buying them, which made you more likely to buy them later. So why is Apple iconic? It's not just great products. Lots of companies make those. Apple became iconic because they understood that technology is personal, emotional, cultural. They didn't just make tools, they made lifestyle accessories, status symbols, and identity markers. They turned customers into fans, products into statements, and shopping into experiences. That's not just business success, that's cultural dominance. And that's why Apple isn't just a company, it's an icon.